Okay, you don't just pray for one thing and get 10 grand the next morning. You don't pray for one thing and have a girl get sick for 10 minutes. You just don't pray for these things, and it just coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, day after day after day. Man, it just can't be. It's to the point where after a while you go, you know what? It doesn't even require faith to follow Jesus anymore. He just proves it to me every day that he's there. He's listening to me. And you just get closer and closer and closer. And then pretty soon it's like, who else do I want to talk to? Who else do I need to strategize with? Why don't I just get on my knees? I mean, what's more powerful? Let's say you're having marriage problems. Honestly, what do you think is more powerful, for you to come in for counseling or for the two of you to get on your knees for an hour? Honestly, what do you think will help your marriage more? I mean, how much do we believe in this stuff? The prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. I love that next verse, verse 17, where he says, Elijah was a man just like us. Oh, I love that verse. Elijah. Remember the one that called down fire, onto that altar there when all the prophets of Baal were dancing around, trying to light this thing on fire. And Elijah just prays, and God, throw some fire on this thing. And then, bam, first he tells all the other prophets, hey, why don't you soak it with water first? Just to rub it in, just to show you how great my God is. And gets on his knees and goes, God, okay, show him who you are. And God just lights this thing on fire and just consumes the whole sacrifice. And then he goes, we lift up Elijah. Wow, Elijah. What does James say? Elijah's just a man like you. What did you think Elijah was? Because we talk about guys like Moses. Woo, Moses. Big deal. He was a man just like me. Elijah was a man just like me. The Apostle Paul was a man just like me. Elijah was a man just like us. There's no difference. It's not about the person. It's not about reading all these great men in Scripture. This book is not about a bunch of great men. It's about a bunch of average people. People who were just like us, but they prayed. And they came before this God. And Elijah, when he prayed earnestly that it wouldn't rain. And it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. Again he prayed, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its crops. Because, man, in his prayers, he held off the rain for 3.5 years. But the thrust of that passage is he was a man just like us. He was no different. Moses has nothing on me. He prays to the exact same God I pray to. Elijah has nothing on me. We got to start thinking this. We got to start believing this, because that's what the Scriptures teach. It's just a matter of how much do you pray? How much do you come before this God? How much faith do you have in this God? Say, I believe in this God. I've seen him, answer prayer over and over again, from the big things to the little tiny things. It's like, you know what? I know this God hears me. I know he hears me when I pray. So the stupidest thing I can do is to forego prayer and just start in on my day and start making plans and everything else. And the stupidest thing we could do as a church is get the most brilliant minds together and come up with a strategy and create a vision for the church. But what we're going to do this week is we're going to have a week, this week, Monday through Friday, where we're going to open the church up at 5:30 in the morning. And we're just going to come for prayer at 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 to 6:30, Monday through Friday this week. I'm going to ask the church to fast this week. By fasting, I know, in the past we've said, just don't eat the whole week. And some of you have done it. It's been awesome. This year I thought, let's do something a little different. Last week when I was in Africa, Pastor Peter's church, they would fast every day. But what they would do is they would fast all day long. They wouldn't eat from the morning until evening. Then at evening they would have a meal. And it's like, you know what? We could do that. Let's all do that. So all morning when your stomach's growling, and you're starving, the whole point is that's supposed to remind you to pray. You're supposed to pray to God and say, God, you know what? I want you more than I want a hamburger right now. And those hunger pains to remind you all day long. Those hunger pains to remind you of how people are suffering all around the world because we're choosing to fast. They've got no choice. And those hunger pains just to remind you of your love for God and say, God, I hunger for you more than I hunger for food right now. And if we as a church really, I mean, could you imagine if we as a church really took this seriously and we showed up? You remember like I showed you that Korean church that showed up at 4? You know, and just started worshiping and going crazy and everything else. Man, for us to come at 5:30 this week, Monday through Friday, 5:30, and just for this place to be packed, to say, God, you know what? We're not even praying for a specific thing. We're not even praying for this plan that Francis laid out. We're praying just for you to just do something crazy, to just do something amazing, because we believe you will, that for you to reveal your will to the elders of the church, for you to lead this church and give it a direction of its own, a life of its own, for you to do amazing things like you did there in the book of Acts. Man, I'm begging you, please, would you come this week? 5:30 a.m. Just be in here and let's just say, God, you know what? We're tired of what we can do. I just want to see something amazing. See, I look at it like this. It's kind of like this plane. You know, you guys ever played with these before when you were little kids? You see, I could throw this. And that's pretty cool. And some of you maybe could throw it a little bit further, and that's what I feel like a lot of times we do in church. And we go, ooh, that was cool. You know, he kind of pushed the church forward, you know. He used all his giftedness, all his talent. We pulled all the intelligent people, came up with a game plan. But it'd be so much better. I believe this is like prayer. Someone comes and prays. Another guy comes and prays. Another guy comes and prays. And, you know, Monday morning we have a prayer at 5:30, and all of you guys come, give a little crank of the wheel, saying, okay, God, we want you, God. You know, all day you're fasting. Oh, I'm starving. Okay, God, that means pray. God, do something in the church, you know, and then you pray. You know, Monday passes. Tuesday, you know, we come back, 5:30. You're praying, I'm praying, everyone's praying all through the day. Wednesday, we're praying all through the day. Fasting, praying, God, do something. You know, Thursday, 5:30 in the morning. Whoa, this place is packed. Still Thursday. Awesome. You know, we're all praying. Everyone's just giving another crank to this thing. We're all just cranking on this prayer. Just going, God, do something. Friday, we're praying all day long. Just praying. And then finally we just go, okay, God, go. And it's like, whoa.